Hello and welcome. You have tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me as always is Cheryl D'Souza. And viewers, this is the show where you get answers for all your stock-related queries. In a short while from now, we will start taking your queries. But before that, let's have a look at what the markets are up to. So Cheryl, some selling pressure from the day's highest point, but nevertheless, Nifty is trying to make a comeback and touch those 22,200 levels.
Absolutely. A very good morning to you, Shrishti. We did hit a record high near the opening levels, then we fizzled off all of those gains. Now we hit a day's low. Now we're trying to claw back. Like Shrishti mentioned, we are trading flat with the positive bias when it comes to the benchmark indices, while on the flip side, Nifty Bank is actually trading flat with a negative bias. Nifty Bank was the one to give up their gains first, approximately 0.7% off the day's highest point. That's the way how Nifty Bank is trading. If you look at the advanced decline ratio now, it's tilted a tad bit in the favor of the decline. So yes, it's neck to neck, but a bit tilted towards in the favor of a decline. Talking about the list of gainers and the losers in trade today, then you have JSW Steel, Tata Steel, Hindalco that are among the top gainers on the Nifty, with Eicher Motors as well as Reliance Industries also giving some sort of a support. Remember, steel counters will also be moving in one way of what is happening in China. Also, the other impact being that Novelis is actually trying to look at listing. So that's Hindalco's arm. So that's the reason why Hindalco is in focus in trade today. While on the flip side, you have Power Grid, BPCL, Infosys, Hero MotoCorp, HCL Tech that are losing in trade today. Talking about the sectoral indices and what's the picture there then, and in the sectoral indices front, it is IT index, PSE index that are taking a bit easy. Media index is down approximately 2.8%. The sore point for media index has to be Zee Entertainment. That particular counter seeing a downtick of as much as 10%. While on the flip side, you have Realty that is holding on to good gains about 2%. Metal index, PSU banks, all of them are seeing some strength in trade today. So that's the way how the markets are looking like at this point in time. Shrishti, but yes, we have to talk about the two-wheeler counters. No doubt there's Hero MotoCorp that is actually moving on back of a particular brokerage note also. But the retail picture or retail sales picture is not looking that great, at least for data that they're getting for the month of Feb or so, right?
Well, yes, exactly. Rightly said, Cheryl. Actually, Morgan Stanley as well as CLSA both have come out with a note on the two-wheeler counters. First of all, CLSA is highlighting that the first 19 days of the February month, they are not that great data suggesting for the two-wheeler counters, where they do see that the growth is seen to be on the slower side for the two-wheeler counters. CLSA is seeing that the retail volume is likely to grow mid-single digit on a YY basis in the month of February 2024. They do highlight that the electric two-wheeler volumes could remain largely flat on a YY basis, but in terms of the players involved, then Hero MotoCorp as well as Royal Enfield retail volumes could likely decline in this particular month, while on the flip side, TVS and Honda should witness double-digit growth in terms of the volumes. While for Bajaj Auto, they are penciling in that the company is gaining a market share in 125cc plus segment. So those were the highlights coming in from CLSA's note, but Morgan Stanley has also come out with a note on Hero MotoCorp. Just yesterday, they did come out with a note in the second half of the trading session or so, and the stock was also down about 4%. What they are highlighting is that they believe that the share price could likely fall in the next 30 days, and the fall could be more relative to the benchmark indices. They do highlight that as per them, there's a limited valuation support and earnings are at risk, and they do maintain their underweight rating with the target price of 3,638 rupees, which is almost 1,000 rupees lower than the current market price. And on the back of that, even today, we are seeing Hero MotoCorp down about 1.3%.
All right, thank you so much for that, Shrishti, actually for outlining what exactly is happening in the two-wheeler space. And we have our experts today, Kush Bora, as well as we have Sharmila Joshi joining us on the show. Very good morning to you, Kush, as well as Sharmila. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And Sharmila, you have CLSA that's come out with a note. In fact, you have Morgan Stanley also that's come out with a note. While CLSA is definitely mentioning that the Vahan retail numbers have indicated a slow growth for the month of February when it comes to these two-wheeler players, and the retail volumes is likely to grow in mid-single digit when you compare it on a year-on-year basis. What's your take coming in for the two-wheeler space? Do you still believe that the domestic demand will be strong for these counters going ahead, or for these companies going ahead?
I think clearly what we've seen is that the premium segment is what has really driven the numbers in the two-wheeler space. And over a period of time, first it was really only Eicher, which had a premium product. Then you had Bajaj Auto, which launched two premium products, and then we had both TVS as well as Hero Motor having their own sort of tie-ups, and this the whole premium space has been very active, and that is what has really driven the numbers. Because as is apparent, not just from two-wheeler numbers, but I think a whole host of FMCG, the volume growth has slowed down because the rural demand has not been there, and rural demand is very important for two-wheelers as a sector. Having said all that, as you said, that I do think that domestic demand will improve as we go ahead, and the fallout of everything positive that we are seeing in the economy will definitely start showing up, and we will see a pickup in domestic volumes. And I think the export markets will also recover, and export markets are important for Bajaj Auto. So I think net I'm positive on the two-wheeler space in terms of the kind of volume growth that they're likely to show. The concern is, of course, the valuations, because those have gone up significantly.
All right, so that's the take coming in on all the two-wheeler counters on the fundamental side. But Kush, what about the technical take on these two-wheeler counters? Any stock? Because all these counters have seen a phenomenal run-up. Any stock that you still like at this point in time, and will you be a buyer at these levels or wait for some more correction?
Hi, Srishti. First up, a very good morning once again. So Hero MotoCorp obviously was one of the last, stocks to join the party, and it had also seen quite a sharp run up. So I think some profit booking, some cooling off was obviously warranted. I won't be surprised to see the stock move to 4,300 levels, where the 50-day moving average lies, and there's a strong, a demand zone that sort of comes in there. But the two stocks that I am more focused on are TVS Motors and Bajaj Auto. Now, these two had a much better run. The run started a lot earlier, but if you switch to the weekly setup on both of them, there's a concept of RSI divergence, which suggests that the stocks actually made a high, but the strength was quite missing, this time around. So TVS Motor had seen that pattern very clearly, even Bajaj Auto to some extent. And let's not forget, Bajaj Auto, despite some sort of cooling off that we are seeing, is still in very heavy overbought territories. Now, that is not to suggest that the rally is over and one should completely exit these stocks. Perhaps a Hero Moto, but as far as TVS Motors and Bajaj Auto go, for me they are still on a buy on dips kind of a mode. So for something like a TVS Motor, 2000 or 2500, 2050 rather, is a good number. If the stock does come to about those levels, it will be a good entry point. Bajaj Auto 2, it might need a slightly deeper correction, but if we see this close to 7900 thereabouts, then it's a good time to enter. So for me, TVS Motors and Bajaj Auto are a buy on dips. Hero is perhaps one stock that you can book profit and exit.
TVS, Bajaj Auto, buy on dips, and Hero Motor, you can actually stay on the sidelines when it comes to that particular counter. That's a take coming in from Kush as well as Sharmila on the two-wheeler space. On that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. When we come back, we'll start taking your query viewers, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now, a show where we get you answers for all of your stock-related queries. Remember, viewers, you can connect to us on the WhatsApp number that is flashing on your screen. On the experts front, today we have Kush Bora as well as Sharmila Joshi joining us on the show. Once again, good morning, Kush, as well as Sharmila. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And let's start taking the queries then. And this one is coming in from Dasarathy. He's writing to us from Vijayawada. He's a long-term investor, has 300 shares of Finotex Chemicals and Good Luck India. He wants to know what should he do. He wants to buy both of these counters, about 300 shares of Finotex and about 100 shares of Good Luck India at current price for the long term. He wants to know, Sharmila, are these good bets to go ahead and buy right now?
So one was Finotex and the other was Good Luck.
Yes.
Okay. So let me talk of Good Luck first. Overall, I think that the stock is a good stock, but the valuations are a little high. So I think from an entry perspective, it might be better to buy it on dip rather than entering the stock right now. And Finotex, unfortunately, I don't seem to be able to find it. How does this, is there any code or anything that you can share?
See the screen then, Sharmila, that's the stock. I'll ask my
No.
producer to fire it again.
I think let's just take a technical view because I just can't seem to find it.
All right, Kush, have you been able to check this one on the technical front? How is this one looking to you? If someone wants to enter this particular counter right now, is it advisable?
Hi, Cheryl. I can understand Sharmila's plight because I had the same issue. The spelling's actually a little different. It's Fineo. And
Absolutely.
hence, even I had a bit of a difficulty locating this, honestly. Well, on the whole, the stocks actually have seen quite a sharp run up in the last, 15 odd sessions where, it languished about 300 odd levels and then just zoomed up, right? We're seeing some sort of profit booking. So right now may not be the best time to enter, into this one. Perhaps a deeper cut, somewhere close to 400, 410, perhaps is a good level to enter into this stock. From there on, the current highs of about 460 and then about 490 should act as your target, and a strong stop loss should come in close to about 375, 380 kind of levels. So buy on dips is what I would suggest, in Finotex Chemical.
I can imagine about that. Actually, to be very honest, is also tricky for people who put out the flashes for these particular counters because you have to get the spellings right. And I've been there, done that, so I can understand both of you all. But Shrishti, which is the next query?
Okay, moving on to the next query then. And Kush, I'm coming to you to have your take on two counters. Mekha from UAE has written to us on Bajaj Consumers, where she is holding 300 shares from a price of 230 rupees. She's at a profit in this one, is what I can see. But the other stock is Praj Industries, holding 95 shares from a price of 544. Some mild losses in this one. Wants to know the short-term outlook in both of these names.
So let's start with Bajaj Consumer first. The stock has zoomed in the last three sessions. Today it's up on very strong volumes. I have a feeling there must be some news in this stock that at least I'm missing out on. It's close to its resistance level of about 245 and 250. So it could see some sort of a consolidation here on. But if this level is taken out, the stock could very well move past this and hit about 270 kind of levels. Suggestion would be to keep a strict trailing stop loss because of the momentum that we're seeing in the stock. A good stop loss comes in at about 240. So I think this is comfortably above the buying price. As far as Praj goes, the stock is attempting a bit of a recovery. It's still way below her buying price. So here the suggestion would be to hold on to this one with I think a very strict stop loss at about 500 or rather 490. But I think other than that, there isn't too much of a traction here. So once the stock comes to her buying price, it's best to book some profits and switch.
All right, this one is coming in from our viewer. I think this is Balan, I'm not sure, but he has a query on HUL and Bata, which he's been holding in his portfolio for the last 3 to 4 years. He's making healthy profits actually in these counters, Sharmila. However, for the last 1 to 2 years, the stocks haven't been moving. It's been pretty stagnant. Should he look to exit now from both of these counters, given the fact that he still has profit in his kitty? Should he go ahead and buy SBI, Chalet Hotels and Vodafone Idea?
That's list of stocks. But honestly, I think it all depends on what your overall outlook and strategy is for your portfolio. Because both these are good names. Having said that, just a little while earlier we were talking of FMCG names, and they're not having the best run because we are seeing that the volume growth has been a little on the lower side, and which is reflected in the stock price definitely of HUL and Bata numbers have also been sort of indifferent. So if you are willing, if you have the patience and you want to have some, portfolio where there are some good quality names in your portfolio, then I would suggest that you continue with these stocks. Yes, I think from the list that you have, which I heard, SBI, Chalet Hotels, and Vodafone. Vodafone is a complete avoid for me. SBI definitely you can consider buying. Chalet Hotels again, I would say that both the stocks that you have are better pedigree stocks than this. But stock price return could be another thing altogether. So I think from a safety perspective, I would really recommend that you continue with both HUL and Bata.
All right, moving on. And Sharmila, once again coming to you to have your take on Polyplex Corporation. Tanya from Ghaziabad is holding 40 shares, but her buy price is 1,747 rupees. It's been more than 2 years that she's holding this stock in her portfolio. Should she go ahead and book loss in this one, or would you advise to hold on or average out? Polyplex Corporation is the stock.
Yes, I got it. I'm just trying to see why there has been such a correction in the price, given the fact that markets are where they are. But the overall numbers also don't really inspire me to sort of suggest even a hold. So yes, I think it might be a good idea to really just exit the stock and book your loss.
One is coming from Sudarshan, writing to us from Bangalore, has invested in Tata Tech post the IPO, about 125 shares at a price of 1,145 rupees per share, incurring losses on this particular counter right now. But I don't think the losses are that steep, because given the fact that it is just near the buy price for her, she wants to know whether she should hold or exit or invest in KPIT or Keynes for now. Will you be able to give your view on this? I know Tata Tech is a very recently listed counter.
So you're right. There's very limited data on this, but at least if I consider the recent moves, the stock's actually attempting a rebound. What I like are the alternatives that are being considered here. KPIT has been one of our topics for a while now. Now the recent trend on Tata Tech suggests that the stock is heading higher, but KPIT Tech does look like a good buy given the kind of returns that we've seen over the last few years. It's slightly on the decline now, taking support at the 20-day moving average. So if it does hold on to about these levels, 1570, 1550 kind of levels, not a bad idea to start accumulating this. The near-term targets for this would be 1650 and then about 1800. So I think KPIT Tech, just from a technical perspective, given how much data I have, seems like a stronger bet.
All right, moving on. And Sharmila, what's your take on PI Industries? Parvinder Singh is holding 20 shares and his buy price is 3,511 rupees. In the medium term, any outlook or any target price on this counter?
The stock is at a fairly good level and numbers have also been fairly decent. So my target would be closer to 4,000. So I recommend a hold, providing he has the patience to stay invested.
All right, this one is coming from Kush. This one is coming to you, Kush, from Vivek. He wants a 2 to 3 year view, but he has ACE in his portfolio. 540 is the buy price. He wants to know what should he do with this counter. He's saying he can hold on to this for the next 2 to 3 years. He's not in a hurry to book out profits from this one or book out of this particular counter. What's the strategy that he should adopt right now?
So again, it's got everything going for it. Even if I look at it from a multi-year time frame, there's a slight profit booking. That's the only thing that you're seeing right now. Other than that, the broader trend is very much intact. I think from a 2 to 3 year perspective, this stock, despite the kind of run up that we've seen, has the potential to give multifold returns. So my suggestion would be, as he's already mentioned, money is not really a concern at the moment. Then no issues. Hold on to this one. I think the stock still has a lot of good days, ahead of it.
Once again, coming to you, Kush, Reena Thomas is holding 200 shares of NIIT Limited from a price of 139 rupees. She just recently entered in this counter, but the stock is seen to be coming down. Any hopes of recovery in this stock? Should she stay invested or move out?
So the stock's seen fair bit of volatility, but if I look at it from a weekly perspective, then the last couple of weeks the stock's been on a rise, even though it's a bit mild. Again, if here too money is not really a concern, then not a bad idea to hold on to this one with a stop loss of 124. A resistance zone comes in at about 132, which is very close to where the stock is right now. Once that is taken out, it can make a dash towards 138 and then 145 kind of levels. So hold on to this with a stop loss of 124. It's a slow mover. We are seeing some supply pressure, but for the last couple of weeks, it's been inching upwards. So then there's the possibility that it could move higher from here on.
All right, on that note, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue taking your query. Viewers, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Buy Now Sell Now, show where we get you answers for all your stock-related queries. And continuing the same, the next query that I have, Sharmila, is coming from Ramesh from Chennai, and he's holding Punjab National Bank 20,000 shares in quantity from a price of 80 rupees. Is that still a hold, or he should move out of this one?
Definitely hold, because the sense that you're getting is that the rally is definitely on in PSU banks, and given everything that has happened in the private banking space, this is a space that has really attracted investor interest. Again, I think valuations are in favor of PNB. The numbers that they have been reporting have shown a steady improvement, and they're coming out from their legacy issues. So yes, and congratulations to the investor. He's bought it at a great price. So I don't really see any reason why he should exit a good stock, in a sector that is showing very positive momentum.
All right, this one's come from Ramamurthy from Bahrain. A couple of questions he's actually asked, but let me take two of them then, because both of them are stocks that have been in news. Kush, coming to you, he wants to know whether he should retain, exit, or average out Paytm currently. He already has this counter and is facing a loss of about 20% in this particular stock. What should the strategy be for Paytm right now? Because the stock has been hitting upper circuit day after day. And also Polycab, he wants to know whether it's good time to invest in this one right now.
So let's take Paytm first. Again, there's far too much volatility, around it. My suggestion is, don't average it. Just hold on to, whatever quantity you've got. A good idea will be to, exit the stock once it, comes to your buying price. I'm sorry, I missed that. But whatever your buying price is, if it does come closer to that, it's a good idea to perhaps exit it. For sure, averaging is not a strategy that I would suggest. It had gone into deep oversold territory, and we are seeing some sort of a rebound from there. So no averaging. Polycab, here too, we are seeing the traction in the stock. However, it's facing resistance at its 50-day moving average. So the stock could perhaps consolidate for some time here. So a good strategy here would be to book your profits and exit. Once key resistance levels are taken out, it gathers momentum. Should we consider buying it again?
All right. Kush, once again coming to you, because this question is specifically for you, coming in from Imtiaz, and he wants your take on Raymond. He's holding 100 shares from a price of 1,585 rupees. The stock is zoomed around 7% today. What will be your take on this one?
So Raymond has been, in a bit of a selling pressure for a while. Every rise was used an opportunity to sell. If I draw a trend line, then it's perhaps today that the stock has finally broken out of that resistance zone. Very strong volumes today. 200-day moving average also is taken out. I think this is a good time to either add Raymond, or if you've got an existing position, to hold on to this one. The stock is now approaching 1925, the first target. And then once that is taken out, 2020 as the next target. So finally, after a long while of consolidation, the stock seeing some traction. A good idea to ride this way.
All right. This next one is coming in from Usha, and she has a Carousel at a price of around 544, and also a Biocon at a price of around 264 rupees per share. Sharmila, she wants to know whether she should hold these counters or exit the counters, and her view is for the longer term. Both of them, if you look at it, she is making profits, at least mild profits for Biocon, and good one when it comes to Carousel.
I think for me, both the stocks are a hold. Perhaps I prefer Biocon a tad bit to Carousel. But having said that, I think yes, you can continue to hold both these stocks.
All right. Once again, Sharmila, coming to you, what will be your take on NHPC? Prasad is holding 3,000 shares and his buy price is 101 rupees. Is that a hold or average at this point in time?
He's bought it at 11 rupees.
101.
101. Okay. I think that what we've really seen with this space is that there was sort of a great demand for all these stocks in the power and related space, and the valuations therefore became a little a tad bit on the higher side. So that is my really worry and really cause for concern, because I think that in a lot of PSU space, while outlook may be good in terms of the business, I think what happens is that for any of the positives that we are seeing to really translate into bottom line takes time. So that's my caveat. Otherwise, I think as a space, I like the power space. So if you have the patience, then continue to hold.
Coming in from Kishore, he's writing to us from Bangalore. He wants your opinion on investing in Federal Bank. He wants to know what's the long-term view, and the view is for about 5 years or so. Sharmila, it could be that Federal Bank is reacting to some sort of a news flow that is impacting the stock right now, or some sort of a speculative news that is there in the market that's floating around. That's one of the reasons also that could be kind of putting pressure on the stock over the last 2 to 3 days. But over the long term, Federal Bank is a good candidate, right, to invest in?
Yes, but what I would only recommend is, since he's talking of 5 years, is that definitely do keep revisiting the stock and see that the numbers are sort of adding up, and it makes sense for you to stay invested for such a fairly long period of time. But yes, I think prima facie, looking at the stock, looking at the valuation, looking at how their numbers have been, you can continue to hold.
All right, Kush, coming to you, and this one is an FNO query on IRCTC. Viewer named Sareka is holding 970 call option of IRCTC of this series expiry from a price of 25 rupees. As of now, what she is highlighting is that she's at a loss of 11,000 rupees. Any expectation that this gets into in the money call option, and like she gets the price of her buying price on this one and the profit as well?
So let me take the broader view. The broader view on IRCTC that we have, IRCTC rather, that we have is positive. We think the stock is poised for a move to 985 and 10,000 plus kind of levels. That's the view. However, since she's holding a call option, the stock's gone into a bit of a consolidation mode, resisting at its 20-day moving average. There's a possibility that even if that target does come about and it does not come about this week or next, then she could be in a bit of a loss. So sincere suggestion would be to keep a strict stop loss of about 10 rupees if that is broken out, either because of the delta or because of the time value decay. Then she should exit out of that. The stock has a potential. It's just a matter of time as to when this will rise. So hold with a stop loss of 10 rupees. She's already in a bit of a loss. Maybe another 4 rupees if she can hold on to. Then 10 rupees should be your stop loss on IRCTC.
All right. This one's come from Asha Nayak. Wants to know right time to enter Tata Consumer for the long term. What's your take on this one? Sharmila, you did touch upon the consumer space as whole. But Tata Consumer, do you think right now it's a good time to invest in this one for the longer term?
Yes, for the long term, you can consider it, because this is a stock that I like. What I do like about them is that the way they've grown their brands consciously over the last 4 or 5 years, they found good fit for their sort of portfolio, and they are in a business sort of where you could see really big volumes sort of going ahead, the consumer space. Also, they have the coffee, Starbucks, etc., where again. We know that given our the aspirational nature of the demographics, that's also playing out for them. So yes, I think if you have a longer term view, then you could consider buying. But as I said, in the near term, although Tata Consumer numbers have been fairly decent, in the near term there seem to be some sort of issues for the space.
All right. Once again, coming to you, Sharmila, just a while back you were mentioning that the focus or the interest is in the PSU banking space. Gopalakrishna wants to know that at this point in time, can he make a fresh entry either in Indian Bank, PNB or Canara Bank, any of the stock that you still like at this point in time?
So I think clearly my list would be PNB, Canara Bank and Indian Bank. But yes, I think all three could be considered. And just I think from a price perspective and a result perspective, I prefer a PNB. Though Indian Bank also, has great intrinsic value. And Canara Bank also is a fairly decent sized PSU bank. But yes, as I said, I think he could consider all. But what I would also recommend is, given the fact that we have seen a run up in, these last, ever since I think really we started seeing numbers for this quarter. I think what makes sense is to do a sort of do an SIP approach and try and buy them on dips whenever market gives you corrections. Try and sort of enter the stock. That would be the only strategy. But yes, I think from a longer term perspective, you could look to buy all three.
Right, this one is coming in from Ritika from Kolkata. This one is for you, Kush. She wants to know about NMDC. 500 shares of NMDC at a price of 250 rupees per share. She wants to know whether she should add some more, hold, or sell. Any short-term targets for NMDC that you can give her?
So don't add. Not a big fan of averaging. Although our near-term view on the stock is still positive. The run-up that had come about is just profit booking. From those recent high levels. 230 is a strong support zone. 20-day moving average also comes close to that. So that should be your stop loss in any case. But on the higher side, don't be surprised to see the recent high of 250. Coming back on this stock. And once that is taken out, about 265 is the next level that we should be looking at. So this is just about of profit booking, and the stock has a tendency of rebounding from its 20-day moving average. So 230 holding, the stock could rebound from these levels and make a move towards 265.
All right, so that's the take coming in on NMDC. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
TMT बार की विन ग्रिप टेक्नोलॉजी सीमेंट के साथ बनाए मजबूत पकड़.
Grip is important.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. Let's continue taking your query. And this query is coming in from Bharti Dave, who's a senior citizen, is a long-term investor as well. She has 500 shares of McLeod Russell at an average price of about 28 rupees per share. She wants to know whether she should hold, add, or exit this particular counter. Kush, what's your take coming in on McLeod Russell, given the fact that this one, once upon a time, was priced much higher than what it is right now? 28 rupees is the average buy price. Makes sense to exit from here?
Well, in ideal scenario, yes. The only thing is that the stock's just now starting to see some sort of a spurt. So, I'd stick with my favorite strategy, which is a trailing stop loss. So 30 to 50 is where I would place a stop loss. If it does sort of slip and comes back to that level, not a bad idea to then exit. But currently, since it's got momentum going on its side for the last 5 odd sessions, a good idea to ride it and keep moving the trailing stop loss higher if the stock, does indeed move to 40 and levels higher than that.
All right, moving on, and once again coming to you, Kush, what's your take on J&K Bank? PGK Raju is holding 5,000 shares at a price of 137 rupees. Maybe for the next 6 months, he can continue holding this. So any targets to look out for?
For sure. Just bear in mind that the stock's been, one of the rank outperformers and, stories of the last, 12 to 18 months, or probably a little more. So, it could see some sort of a consolidation. The good thing is that, the stock is slightly above his buying price. So continue to hold on to this one. A stop loss does come in at about 135, odd levels, close to the buying price. But once this consolidation phase is over and the rally in the banking sector starts, the stock will also benefit from that. So on the upside, 150 and then about 158 from a near-term perspective is a good target, for J&K Bank.
All right, this next one is coming in from S. Satya, who has about 100 shares of Devyani International at a price of around 125 rupees per share, holding since the year of about 2022. Can hold for the long term, or does it make sense to switch to Sapphire Foods? Coming to you, Sharmila, on Devyani International, given the fact that today the stock did see a huge lump sum block deal also take place, about 4.3% equity that changed hands via block deal. But Devyani International, for the longer term, do you think it makes sense to stay put, Satya to stay put, or switch to Sapphire Foods instead?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, that there is a sort of a option here that whether you should go for Sapphire Foods, and I think that's the option that you should go for. Sapphire Foods seems to have better numbers, and I think that overall it's a better business sort of to be in. So yeah, I think Sapphire Foods.
All right, Sharmila, what's your take on Coal India? This stock has been in focus in the past couple of days on the back of the management commentary and the brokerage notes as well. Subrata Mukherjee wants to know, is this a good time to enter in this name?
Yes, so this decline in auction premiums has definitely hit the stock. But I do think that volumes could sort of offset, that bit. But overall, I think if you ask me from a valuation perspective, also the stock looks a little expensive. I think the strong point in favor of the stock has always been the fact for a retail investor that the dividend yield is quite high. So I'm sorry, I missed what price has the investor bought at?
He is looking for a fresh investment in this one for a long term.
So maybe if the stock corrects a little, you could look to buy because if the stock has had a run up and valuations are on the higher side.
With that, let's kickstart with the rapid fire then. And Dr. Ravi Shankar from Bangalore is making like spectacular returns. I have to rub my eyes to read it. Elecon Engineering 500%, Genus Power 300%. Kush, he wants to know whether should he add some more of these stocks in his portfolio.
Well, no, not at the moment, but for sure continue holding on to both of them.
All right, Sharmila, the next query is from Padmi, and she's holding 6 shares of Bosch from a price of 11,000 rupees. She's a long-term investor. Good to hold on or book profits?
No, I think I will continue to hold it.
All right, Srikanth has Birlasoft 200 shares at 451 rupees per share. What should he do? Kush, book out profits or stay put with Birlasoft?
So as far as Birlasoft goes, it's a good idea to take some money home today.
All right, Kush, what's your advice coming in on GIC RE? Thomas is holding 500 shares from a price of 360 rupees. What to do next?
Hold. The entire pack has seen a lot of traction and a lot of momentum. On the upside, the stock could move to about 475 odd levels, and a stop loss comes in at about 410. So hold GICR.
All right, sorry for that, Kush, but Bharat Electronics, Sushil wants to know the short-term target buy price is 184.
Again, this stock is close to the resistance level, so book partially. Seen a lot of run already. Once that, once the resistance of 195 is taken out, perhaps 210 is the next big level to watch for. So the idea would be to book partially for BEL.
All right, Sharmila, what's your take on Welspun Corp? V. Murli wants to know at this point in time, is this a good stock to enter?
Yeah, I think the results seem to be good and valuations are also decent. So yes, you could look to enter.
All right, Venugopal Tada has Bajaj Finance at the price of 6,856 as well as HDFC Bank at a level of 1,473. Stay put with both for the next 1 year, Kush.
With a heavy heart, I would say Bajaj Finance, perhaps switch to Jio Financial Services, and HDFC Bank rather, stay put, perhaps even go ahead and add more.
All right, but with this, viewers, it's time to wrap this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now as well as the Rapid Fire session. Thank you so much, Sharmila, as well as Kush, for joining us today and helping all our viewers resolve their stock-related queries. But with this, viewers, it's a goodbye from me and Cheryl and the entire team who put the show together. Thanks so much for watching, but don't go anywhere. Market action continues, and Market at Noon will take the action ahead.
In the fast